Are you ready for the ultimate Zarpado compilation facts? Subscribe and let's start. French photographer Francois Durel uses his phone to drop Disney and Pixar characters into real-world settings, and the result looks completely real, like they actually belong there. What started as a joke became his signature style, shared by millions. Gaten Matarazzo, who plays Dustin in Stranger Things, has a real condition called cleidocranial dysplasia. It affects his bones, skull, and teeth. The show wrote it into his character. He's spoken openly about it, helping break stigmas around looking different. There are glasses with periscope-angled lenses that let you read or watch TV lying flat on your back, no neck movement needed. They're used in hospitals for patients who can't sit up, but honestly, they're just genius for anyone who wants to be horizontal at all times. In Japan, an agency called Unagi Travels takes your stuffed animal on vacation for you. They photograph it at landmarks and send it back with a full adventure album. It started for people who can't travel due to health. Now adults just love it. The Virtuality is a shirt you scan with an app to reveal a 3D animation of your own organs, heart, lungs, digestive system. You can literally tap your chest and learn biology. It's a classroom you wear. A dog named Wesley went viral for wearing actual braces. He had a dental condition that kept him from chewing properly. His vet fitted him with custom brackets just like humans get. He recovered fully, and his smile became famous. The mannequins of the future have 9 movable joints and can change body size at the push of a button. One mannequin, every body type. Game changer for inclusive fashion campaigns. In Japan, men are the biggest buyers of luxury chocolate boxes that go over $100 each. They see it as a status symbol. Some don't even eat it, they collect it. Artist Ivan Black builds kinetic sculptures from metal rings that fold, spin, and contract in hypnotic repeating patterns, then snap back to their original form. No motors, just balance and tension. It looks like magic. The world's smallest phone, the Zanko Tiny T1, fits in the palm of your hand. Calls, texts, flashlight, no touchscreen, no apps, just small enough to go completely unnoticed. At Terme Milano Spa in Italy, there's a room where water falls from the ceiling while thunder booms and lights flash like lightning. It's designed for deep relaxation, like standing in a warm storm. Nature, faked perfectly, to help you forget the world exists. In 1939, General Motors unveiled the Pontiac Ghost Car, a fully transparent plexiglass body that lets you see the engine, interior, and brakes all at once. Shown at the World's Fair in New York, the first invisible car decades before special effects. The filling inside a Kit Kat, other Kit Kats. Bars with too many air bubbles or imperfections get ground into powder and recycled into new bars. It's been happening inside their factories the entire time. Some ants keep aphids as livestock, literally herding and milking them with their antennae to collect honeydew. In return, the ants protect them from predators. One of the oldest and most sophisticated symbiotic relationships in the insect world. Here's an uncomfortable one. Before commanding the army that ended slavery, Union General Ulysses Grant once owned an enslaved man named William Jones and freed him in 1859. A complicated footnote in the biography of a future U.S. president. In Germany, Father's Day means groups of men, often in costumes, pulling wagons full of alcohol through the streets. It's also known as Accident Day. Traffic collisions more than triple that day because of it. NASA actually has a plan for what to do if an astronaut dies in deep space. They freeze the body in the airlock, then use a robotic arm to shake it until it breaks apart into dust. Out there, that's the most practical option. The first recorded labor strike in history happened in Egypt around 1152 BC under Ramesses III. Workers building royal tombs stopped work because their food rations were late. Even then, no food, no work. In January 2001, Jennifer Lopez became the first person ever to have the #1 album and #1 movie in the same week. J.Lo and The Wedding Planner dropped simultaneously. No one had done it before. Flamingos aren't pink. They're born pale, almost white. The pink comes from beta-carotene in the plankton and crustaceans they eat. Stop feeding them that diet, they go white again. Their color is literally a product of lunch. Before his capture and execution, Saddam Hussein wrote 4 novels and several poems. Most were suppressed. His first 2 were published under the pen name He Who Wrote It, one of the strangest pseudonyms in the history of literature. The melody of the U.S. national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner, was borrowed from a British drinking song called To Anacreon in Heaven. The patriotic words came later. The most solemn anthem of the most powerful nation on earth is, at its core, a bar song. Baby bats are born feet first while the mother hangs upside down, catching the newborn in her wings. After birth, a mother can pick out her own pup among thousands of bats in a pitch-dark, deafening cave using only sound and smell. Gram for gram, crickets have twice the protein of beef, 3 times the iron, and 5 times the magnesium. They also need far less water, land, and feed to raise. That's why cricket-based snack bars are no longer a niche product. The infinity symbol, the sideways figure 8, has an actual name. It's called a lemniscate, from the Latin word for ribbon or loop. It entered mathematics in the 1600s to represent quantities without limit. During the winter of 1916 to 1917, massive packs of starving wolves attacked both German and Russian forces along the Eastern Front. It got so bad that the 2 sides called a temporary truce just to fight the wolves together. The Haskell Library and Opera House sits directly on the US-Canada border. 2 addresses. The stage is in Canada, the audience sits in America. You can check out a book in one country and read it in another. In 1954, a 4-year-old girl named Marina Chapman was abandoned in the Colombian jungle. She spent 5 years being raised by capuchin monkeys, eating, sleeping, and defending herself alongside them. One of the most extraordinary cases ever documented. Almost every Muppet on Sesame Street and The Muppet Show is left-handed. The reason? Most puppeteers are right-handed and use that hand to control the mouth, leaving the left hand for the arm. The Muppets didn't choose to be lefties, physics did. The name Jessica, one of the most popular girls' names in the US throughout the 80s and 90s, was invented by Shakespeare for The Merchant of Venice. Before he wrote it down, there is 0 recorded use of that name in any language. In April 1984, waitress Phyllis Penzo picked lottery numbers for a customer at a pizza place in Yonkers, New York. He won $6 million that week and gave her half, $3 million for pointing at some numbers. A 1960s study at Columbia University put students in a room slowly filling with smoke. Alone, almost all of them got up and reported it. But when actors in the room pretended not to notice, only 1 in 10 students did anything. Same smoke, different crowd. Frisbee inventor Ed Hedrick left instructions that after his death, his ashes be molded into actual Frisbees and sold so he could be thrown forever. Possibly the most aerodynamically on-brand final wish in all of history. A 3,500-year-old cypress tree in Longwood, Florida, called the Senator, was accidentally set on fire by a woman who climbed inside its massive hollow trunk to smoke. When asked how she felt, she said she couldn't believe she'd burned something older than Jesus. Mike Tyson once visited a zoo on a romantic outing with his wife, spotted an alpha male gorilla intimidating the rest of the group, and offered the zookeeper $10,000 to let him into the enclosure to fight it. The zookeeper said no immediately. The Wizard in The Wizard of Oz has a full name: Oscar Zoroastro Fadrigo Isaac Norman Henkel Emmanuel Ambrosio Diggs. In the original book, he explains he goes by Oz because his other initials spell out Pinhead in English, not exactly a title he wanted to advertise. King Edmund Ironside was assassinated on November 30th in the year 1016 while sitting on the toilet. An attacker hidden beneath stabbed him from below. He'd been king for just over 7 months. In 1915, a soldier named Paul Kern took a bullet to the head that damaged his frontal lobe. When he came out of surgery, he never slept again. Not once. He lived until 1955, 40 years without a single night of sleep. In the 13th century, Pope Gregory IX issued a formal decree clarifying that baptizing babies with beer instead of water made the baptism invalid. Apparently, this needed to be said, because apparently it was happening. Mexican General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna had his amputated leg exhumed in 1838 and given a full military funeral speeches, prayers, the works. The leg was then buried in a crystal jar beneath an elaborate monument in Mexico City. Denver International Airport is more than twice the size of Manhattan. It's the largest airport in the United States and has the most extensive jet fuel distribution network on the planet. The grounds are so vast they include farmland. Mathematicians say every glass of water you drink contains at least one molecule that Cleopatra once swallowed and at least one a dinosaur drank. The planet's water has been recycling through evaporation and rain for millions of years. You're drinking ancient history. A leech's body is divided into 32 segments, each with its own brain. They also have 2 reproductive organs and 9 pairs of testes. Some species produce anticoagulants so effective they're still used in reconstructive surgery today. The odds of dying in a plane crash are roughly 1 in 11 million. And even if the plane you're on crashes, 95.7% of people survive. Flying is statistically one of the safest ways to travel, it just doesn't feel that way. Human birth control pills also work on female gorillas. That discovery made researchers pause and think about just how much we share with them. Gorillas grieve, they bond, and apparently their biology responds to the same chemistry ours does. The number of possible chess games exceeds the number of atoms in the known universe, and that's after just the first few moves. That's why grandmasters spend years on openings alone. You can't memorize the game, you can only learn to think inside it. Lions, tigers, leopards, and jaguars are the only cats that can roar. The others simply lack the elastic ligaments in the larynx to produce it. A lion's roar carries nearly 5 miles and can be heard across an open savanna in the dead of night. Leo Fender, the man who invented the Telecaster, the first mass-produced electric guitar in history, could not play any instrument he designed. Not one. Proof that you don't need to play the game to change it entirely. Leopard frogs use their eyes to swallow. When they blink hard, their eyeballs push inward into the roof of their mouth, compressing food down the throat. No chewing. Just blinking their meal into existence. In 2007, Iranian intelligence arrested 14 squirrels on suspicion of being Western spies. Agents claimed the animals were carrying advanced surveillance equipment. This was an official government announcement. Make of that what you will. In 1958, a 17-year-old named Robert Heft designed the current United States flag as a school project. His teacher gave him a B-. Then President Eisenhower chose that exact design as the official flag, and the teacher changed his grade to an A. Leonardo da Vinci was ambidextrous, dyslexic, and reportedly paranoid. He could draw forward with one hand while the other wrote sentences in reverse mirror script simultaneously. One of a kind doesn't even begin to cover it. Tim Wong, an aquatic biologist in California, single-handedly repopulated an entire butterfly species, the California pipevine swallowtail, from his own backyard greenhouse. He grew the right plants, raised the butterflies carefully, and reintroduced them to the wild. One guy, one species brought back. The first time the Beatles performed in the United States was February 11th, 1964, at the Washington Coliseum. According to the venue owner's son, the entire building smelled strongly of urine for most of the night. Beatlemania was not a metaphor. There's a restaurant in Taipei, Taiwan called Modern Toilet where food is served in toilet-shaped bowls, drinks come in urine sample bottles, and the meatballs are shaped like feces. The seats are toilets. It's fully booked most nights. Caterpillars consume more than 27,000 times their own body weight during the larval stage. They also have up to 4,000 muscles in their tiny bodies. Humans much larger have 629. A caterpillar could outflex any athlete alive. There's a hotel in Jukkasjärvi, Sweden, built entirely out of ice. First constructed in 1990, it's rebuilt every single year using snow and ice from the nearby river. It goes up in December, it melts in April. The beds, chairs, and decorations all ice. In the year 2000, radio announcer Charles Grianius was on his deathbed when his daughter reminded him he'd always wanted memorable last words. He pulled off his oxygen mask and whispered, "And now, a final word from our sponsor." Those were his actual last words. The town of Colma, California has a dead-to-living ratio of nearly 1,000 to 1. About 1,500,000 people are buried there. Roughly 1,500 people live there. It grew as a burial destination during and after the gold rush. Dolphins can use their sonar like an X-ray. They can see through the seafloor and through other animals. If you swim next to one, it can see your entire skeleton. You just see a dolphin. The relationship is deeply unequal. Vulcan Point in the Philippines is an island inside a lake, inside an active volcano, inside a larger lake on a larger island. It's possibly the most surreal chain of concentric geography on the planet. Nature just kept going. In 1929, two Princeton researchers turned a live cat into a functioning telephone. It worked. It's now remembered mostly as a vivid example of how much research ethics have changed since then. People with dissociative identity disorder can have alternate identities with measurable physical differences, different blood pressure, pulse, and brain blood flow. One identity can have perfect vision, while another in the same body needs glasses to see the same thing clearly. In 2007, 170 Swiss soldiers accidentally invaded Liechtenstein during a nighttime training march. No shots fired, no damage caused. Liechtenstein's spokesperson said it was no problem, and that these things happen. Friendliest invasion in recorded history. That smell after rain in the forest? It comes from a bacteria called actinomycetes, whose spores are released into the air when raindrops hit dry soil. It's also tied to a compound called geosmin, responsible for that distinctive wet earth scent. Your brain finds it relaxing on purpose. Japan has a 400-year-old tradition where sumo wrestlers try to make babies cry by shaking them and pulling faces. The crying is believed to ward off evil spirits and bring the child good health. It's called nakazumo. Yes, it's an actual ceremony. Donkeys have nearly 360-degree vision and can see all four of their own legs at the same time. This helps them spot predators instantly and navigate rough terrain safely. It's why they've been trusted cargo animals on mountain paths for centuries. Sarcasm might actually make you smarter. Studies show that witty, sarcastic remarks improve analytical and creative thinking in both the person delivering them and the one receiving them. It activates the brain regions tied to complex problem solving. Use that however you'd like. Real velociraptors were about the size of a modern turkey, just over 2 feet tall. The terrifying creatures from Jurassic Park were actually based on a different species called Deinonychus. Also, fossils confirm real velociraptors had feathers. The movies lied twice. Halden Prison in Norway is genuinely designed around rehabilitation over punishment. Even the most serious offenders have flat-screen TVs, private showers, and soft towels. It's considered one of the most humane prisons in the developed world, and Norway has one of the lowest reoffending rates on Earth. About 40,000 toilet-related injuries happen in the United States every year. Some are fatal. Slipping on wet floors, standing up too fast, DIY repair accidents. Older adults make up a significant portion of the most serious cases. The bathroom is not playing around. In 1927, Liberian President Charles King won an election with 234,000 votes in a country with 15,000 registered voters. That earned him a Guinness World Record for the most fraudulent election in history. Nobody even tried to hide it. Fairy wasps from the Costa Rican rainforest are the smallest insects ever discovered. Nearly invisible to the naked eye, they measure less than 5/1000ths of an inch long. They are, by every measure, almost not there. Modern Eskimos use refrigerators to keep food from freezing, not to cool it down. Arctic temperatures can solidify fruit, drinks, and medication in minutes if left outside. The fridge, set just above freezing, actually keeps things warm enough to use. On January 15, 2014, 15-year-old Pakistani student Aitzaz Hassan confronted a suicide bomber approaching a school of 2,000 students. He stopped him. The bomb detonated. Aitzaz didn't survive, but everyone inside did. He was named a National Hero of Pakistan posthumously. The Titanic's head baker, Charles Jockin, spent the night of April 14, 1912, organizing bread distribution to lifeboats, giving his own spot to another passenger. Google has an internal rule: no point in any of their offices can be more than 150 feet from some form of available food. It's a real policy, designed to keep employees fed and focused without ever needing to leave the building. Charles Darwin, Albert Einstein, H.G. Wells, and Canadian Prime Minister John A. Macdonald all married their first cousins. At the time, it was socially common. Genetics and sociology have since updated the cultural consensus on that one considerably. Google's first server racks were built with Lego bricks. The pieces were cheap, and the setup was easier to expand than permanent solutions. The founders needed a fast, affordable way to organize hard drives while running a search engine out of a university dorm. The last man to walk on the moon was astronaut Eugene Cernan. Before climbing back into the lunar module in December 1972, he dragged his boot through the lunar dust and wrote TDC, the initials of his daughter, Tracy. Those letters are, theoretically, still there. Gorillas burp when they're happy. It's a social signal, observed mostly during meals or rest, a way of communicating calm and safety to the group. It keeps the peace among family members. Turns out contentment sounds the same across species. The National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. has a stone carving of Darth Vader on its northwest tower, among the gargoyles. When the tower was built in the 1980s, a design contest was held for children. That entry won third place, and they actually put it up there. Pure water is actually a terrible conductor of electricity. It's the impurities, the dissolved minerals and salts that carry the current. Distilled water barely conducts at all. Seawater and tap water conduct well because of what's in them, not because of the water itself. In 2015, Canadian astronaut Chris Hadfield released an album called Space Sessions: Songs from a Tin Can, recorded during his 144 days aboard the International Space Station. It includes a David Bowie cover and 11 original songs written entirely in orbit. If the Apollo 11 moon landing had been faked, it would have required the silence of more than 400,000 people to keep the secret. For over 50 years, that level of coordinated silence would have been statistically impossible. The math alone clears it. Napoleon Bonaparte hated losing at cards and cheated constantly. Almost no one dared call him out. The only person who always did was his own mother. No fear, no hesitation. She called him out every time. Female fireflies mimic the light signals of other species to lure in males looking for a mate, then eat them. Meanwhile, many adult male fireflies, once they reach maturity, stop eating entirely. Their entire adult life is one focused sprint toward reproduction. Nature is ruthless. In 1915, Coca-Cola gave glass manufacturers one simple challenge: design a bottle so distinctive that you could recognize it by touch in the dark, or even if it were shattered on the ground. The Root Glass Company won. That bottle is still iconic over 100 years later. During World War II, Oscar winners received statuettes made of painted plaster instead of the traditional gold-plated bronze due to metal shortages. When the war ended, winners were invited to swap their plaster versions for the real thing. Goldfish lose their color without regular natural light. Keep one in complete darkness long enough, and the pigment-producing cells begin to die. The fish turns white. Sunlight isn't just decoration for them, it's part of what they are. The longest war in recorded history was the 335 Years' War between the Netherlands and the Isles of Scilly, lasting from 1651 to 1986. Not a single shot was fired during the entire conflict. No casualties, just a very long-standing failure to officially sign a peace treaty. Between 1955 and 1966, multiple hikers near Daytona, Florida, reported a mysterious pink mist hovering low to the ground. Some described it as carnivorous. At least a dozen disappearances were attributed to it. No one has ever explained what it was. Natalia Karp was sent to a concentration camp in 1943. She survived by playing Chopin's Nocturne in C minor so beautifully that the camp commandant moved on the spot, ordered her life and her sister's life to be spared. Music, in the most literal sense, saved them. A clam known as Ming was pulled from the coast of Iceland and then killed by British researchers for testing. Only after the fact did scientists realize it was 507 years old, the oldest living animal ever discovered. They understood what they'd done immediately. There was no undoing it. The American bloodhound has around 230 million scent receptors, nearly 40 times more than a human. Their noses are so reliable that bloodhound tracking evidence was the first animal testimony ever admitted in a U.S. court of law. A dog's nose, legally recognized. And it holds up. Viking King Sigurd of Orkney died in the year 892 from a bite from the severed head of his own enemy. He'd hung the skull from his saddle, but the teeth grazed his leg on the ride home. The wound got infected. The dead man got the last word. In 1912, a raffle was held in Paris to raise money for an orphanage. The prizes were babies. Even at the time, it caused enormous controversy. Organizers insisted that winning families had to meet certain requirements before legally taking home the child they'd won. Cannabinoids, the compounds found in marijuana, appear naturally in only two other places. One is the human brain, the other is chocolate. That's one of the least known facts in organic chemistry, and it lands differently every single time. The Liberty Bell in Philadelphia has Pennsylvania misspelled on its surface, missing one N. And in 1939, Swedish politician Eric Brandt nominated Adolf Hitler for the Nobel Peace Prize. The nomination was withdrawn. No prize was awarded that year. A 2005 study looked at 384 families with multiple children. 74% of mothers and 70% of fathers admitted through their behavior to having a favorite child. Most wouldn't say it out loud. Their actions said it for them. In Virginia, it's perfectly legal to hunt raccoons on a Sunday, as long as you finish before 2 in the morning. And when Frank Sinatra couldn't get front row seats to the Ali Frazier fight, he negotiated a deal with Life magazine to cover it as their official photographer. 4 of his shots were published. 1 made the cover. British band KLF announced their retirement from the music industry at the Brit Awards on February 12, 1992. At the end of their performance, Bill Drummond fired blank rounds into the audience. They then left a dead sheep at the after-party entrance with a note reading, "I died for you." Divorce was illegal in Ireland until a referendum in 1995 legalized it by just 50.28% of the vote. The margin was 0.56%, one of the most consequential social shifts in Irish history. decided by a razor's edge. A high school student named David Merrill ran an experiment playing heavy metal to mice 24 hours a day to see if it affected their ability to navigate a maze. It did, but not in the way he expected. Instead of getting smarter, the mice started killing each other. The experiment had to be stopped. The inventor of Vaseline, Robert Chesebro, believed so deeply in his product that he ate a spoonful of it every single day. Meanwhile, Albert Einstein once wrote that he'd rather be a plumber than a scientist. The Chicago Plumbers Union heard about it and offered him an honorary membership on the spot. There's a nightclub in Guelph, Ontario that doubles as a church every Sunday morning. Volunteers transform the space, hold the service, then flip it back into a nightclub. Same room, two very different vibes. In 1985, the town of Riverside, Iowa, officially declared itself the future birthplace of Captain James T. Kirk, the captain of the Enterprise in the original Star Trek. The decision was based on a minor detail buried in franchise novels that placed Kirk's birth in Iowa. Male ring-tailed lemurs compete during mating season through smell battles. They rub secretions from scent glands onto their tails and wave them at rivals. These standoffs can go on for a long time before turning physical. In lemur society, the one who smells the most dominant wins. A pineapple isn't actually one fruit, it's hundreds. It's a cluster of individual flowers, each forming its own berry, all fused together as they grow. Every section on the surface of a pineapple started life as a completely separate flower. In the original Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo, the clouds in the bushes are the exact same graphic, just recolored. The developers reused visual assets to save memory, one of the most quietly efficient design shortcuts in gaming history. Apples are actually more effective than coffee at waking you up in the morning. The natural glucose provides sustained energy to the brain and body. Add the fiber and water content, and you get alertness without the crash. The cup of coffee is losing this argument. In 1954, Florida had its own legendary creature, the skunk ape, a humanoid figure standing around 8 feet tall that reportedly smelled like rotten eggs or cow manure. It became so popular that state legislators actually tried to pass a law protecting it from being captured. The record for the world's worst hangover belongs to a 37-year-old man in Glasgow, Scotland. After consuming more than 60 pints, roughly 9 gallons of beer over 4 days, he experienced severe dehydration for over 4 weeks. His vision didn't fully recover for 6 months, requiring blood-thinning treatment throughout. The central star in the Sword of the Orion constellation isn't a star at all. It's the Orion Nebula, the only nebula visible to the naked eye from Earth. It's a massive cloud of gas and dust about 1,300 light-years away, and one of the most active star-forming regions we know of. A banana plant is not a tree. It's actually one of the world's largest herbaceous plants. The trunk is made of tightly packed leaves, no wood tissue. It can grow several feet tall and produce hundreds of bananas, and it is technically a giant herb. Australia has more wild camels than anywhere else on the planet, including the Middle East. The population grew so far out of control that the Australian government has spent tens of millions of dollars managing it. They were brought over in the 1800s for cargo transport, then released when they were no longer needed. According to Forbes, the richest fictional character in the world for several years running was Scrooge McDuck, with an estimated fortune of over $65 billion. The duck, famous for swimming in his money vault, was taken seriously enough that financial analysts ran the actual numbers. When the Great Pyramid of Giza was finished, woolly mammoths were still alive on Earth. That overlap in time surprises almost everyone who hears it. The pyramid is so ancient that it and the last mammoths existed in the same world before the mammoths disappeared entirely. Twins Amy and Katie Jones Elliott were born 87 days apart, setting the world record for the longest gap between twin births. Their mother went into labor on June 1, 2012. At 23 weeks, Katie arrived 13 weeks later. Same pregnancy, different seasons, It would take around 400,000 mosquitoes to drain enough blood from a human body to cause death. To fully empty an average person's entire blood supply would require roughly 1 million mosquitoes working simultaneously. Horrible to imagine, impossible to forget. After 10 years of use, the average mattress more than doubles in weight from dead skin, sweat, and dust mites it has absorbed. Sleep specialists recommend rotating them regularly and using washable covers. A decade-old mattress isn't just worn out, it's full. A museum in South Florida opened an exhibit featuring one of the largest collections of fossilized feces on Earth. The largest piece came from a prehistoric crocodile and was roughly the size of a small dog. The museum staff gave it a nickname, Precious. The longest mountain range on Earth is underwater. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge stretches for over 49,000 miles and is largely volcanic. In places, it breaks the surface to form islands like Iceland and the Azores, and it's still slowly growing. When dragonflies mate, they form the shape of a heart with their bodies. The male uses claspers at the tip of his abdomen that lock into specific grooves on the female. Some species stay connected like that for several minutes, flying over water the entire time. NASA's Vehicle Assembly Building at Kennedy Space Center in Florida is so massive it generates its own weather. Rain clouds regularly form inside the structure due to the humidity of the surrounding region. It's one of the largest buildings by volume on Earth, and it literally rains indoors. Professor X and Magneto from the X-Men, created in 1963, were directly inspired by real people. Professor Xavier was based on Martin Luther King Jr. Magneto was inspired by Malcolm X. Two opposing philosophies about how to fight for civil rights turned into superheroes. The Great Fire of London in 1666 destroyed over 13,300 buildings and left around 70,000 people homeless. But despite the scale of the disaster, only 6 deaths were officially recorded. 6, for a fire that consumed an entire city. Smaug the dragon from The Hobbit appeared on Forbes' fictional rich list in second place. His estimated fortune of around $54 billion was calculated seriously by financial analysts. A fictional dragon, real math, real ranking. The name Canada came from a misunderstanding. French explorer Jacques Cartier heard the Iroquois word Canada, meaning village or settlement, and assumed it was the name of the entire land. Other names proposed for the country included Columbia, Laurentia, New Albion, Perselia, Transatlantica, and Superior. During the Cold War, British Trident submarines had sealed orders from the Prime Minister to be opened only if BBC Radio 4 went off the air for 3 consecutive days, without explanation taken as a sign that Britain had been destroyed. The commanders would then decide what to do next based on those instructions alone. Parkinson's patients who believed their placebo cost $1,500 showed better outcomes than those who thought theirs cost $100. Both injections were just saline. The placebo effect was directly proportional to the price the patients believed they were paying. At the time of his death, Elvis Presley was planning his first European tour. Over his entire career, he performed outside the United States only 5 times, and every single one of those concerts was in Canada. The most famous entertainer in the world never once set foot on a European stage. Beetles make up around 40% of all documented insect species. Scientists continue to discover thousands of new beetle species every year, especially in tropical rainforests. Some are smaller than a grain of rice, some are the size of a human hand. In 1998, Przewalski's horses were introduced to the exclusion zone around Chernobyl in an attempt to save the species from extinction. With no humans around, they thrived. The site of the worst nuclear disaster in history became, ironically, one of the most effective wildlife sanctuaries on Earth. In China, a man wearing a green hat is considered a serious fashion mistake because it signals that his wife has been unfaithful. The tradition dates back to the Yuan dynasty, when the families of sex workers were required to wear green head coverings. A blue whale's spout reaches nearly 30 feet into the air. And on a completely different note, Shakespeare invented phrases like dead as a doornail and vanish into thin air. He coined them. The English language just kept them forever. Jimi Hendrix, Michael Jackson, Eddie Van Halen, Eric Clapton, Elvis Presley, and all four Beatles could not read or write music before becoming famous. None of them learned formal notation. Together, they produced some of the most influential compositions in the history of music. Turns out the rules weren't required. Blue jays can mimic the calls of other birds, especially red-tailed hawks. They use this to scare off predators and sometimes to drive other birds away from food sources so they can eat alone. A medium-sized bird running an impressive psychological operation. The Swedish government pays students to go to school. Young people between 16 and 20 receive a monthly stipend ranging from $570 to $693, depending on their situation. One of the most generous education policies in the world. The Outer Space Treaty is a real, binding document that governs behavior beyond Earth. 118 countries are signatories. It formally prohibits claiming sovereignty over the moon, placing weapons of mass destruction in orbit, and a range of other activities in space. In Soviet labor camps, prisoners swallowed condoms attached to rubber tubes. The condoms were filled with pure alcohol and smuggled inside the camp, where they were hung upside down so others could drink directly from the tube. One of the most desperate, creative, and dangerous smuggling methods ever documented. You burn more calories in deep sleep than sitting on the couch watching TV. While you sleep, your body is regulating temperature, repairing tissue, and keeping vital systems running. Lying awake and motionless in front of a screen actually burns less energy than most people would ever guess. Monarch butterflies can turn cannibalistic. When food runs scarce, caterpillars of the species will eat other monarch eggs or larvae on the same plant. They depend almost entirely on milkweed to survive, and when too many hatch on the same plant, things get dark fast. Emus are large, fast, and built for endurance. They also have calf muscles, which is unusual for birds. But here's the thing, they physically cannot walk backwards. No one knows exactly why evolution left that gap. A small Japanese village called Susami holds the Guinness World Record for the deepest underwater mailbox. It sits 33 feet below the surface off the coast. Divers can deposit waterproof letters, and the box receives between 1,000 and 1,500 pieces of mail every year. Actress Chrissy Metz signed a contract when she was cast as Kate in This Is Us that required her to lose weight continuously throughout the show. She accepted that condition and became an inspiring figure for millions of people who followed her journey toward a healthier version of herself. The first Grand Prix races had a color-coded system by country. In 1934, the German team's white car came in slightly overweight. To meet the limit, they stripped all the lead paint off, exposing the bare silver metal underneath. That's how the silver color of German racing was born. There is an Amish beach community in Sarasota, Florida called Pinecraft, where people living a simpler life can enjoy the sun and sand while maintaining their traditions. It is genuinely an Amish paradise, and probably the only one of its kind anywhere on Earth. The silhouette on the NBA logo was inspired by a photo of Jerry West, who played for the Los Angeles Lakers from 1960 to 1974. That logo now generates over $3 billion a year in licensing revenue. One photograph, one pose, billions of dollars. Male goats, when entering mating season, urinate on their own heads, beards, and front legs. The strong scent attracts females and intimidates rival males. In some species, the smell becomes so intense, it saturates everything around them. Nature is not always elegant. A 26-year-old man named Daniel Boria was arrested in Calgary, Alberta, after tying around 120 helium balloons to a lawn chair and floating over the city. He said it was to promote his cleaning business. He also received a fine of over $25,000. The Dracula ant holds the record for the fastest animal movement ever measured on Earth. It can snap its jaws at nearly 300 feet per second over 200 miles per hour. But the truly disturbing part? Queens can't eat solid food, so they bite into their own larvae and drink their blood without killing them. Bitter cassava contains compounds your body converts into cyanide. If it isn't properly peeled, grated, and boiled for a long time, it can cause a condition called konzo, an irreversible paralysis. It's a chemical defense the plant evolved specifically. The shrike is a bird that impales its prey on thorns or barbed wire fences. Because it doesn't have strong talons to hold food down, it uses the spike like a fork to tear apart insects, lizards, and mice. It also leaves prey hanging in the sun. The heat neutralizes toxins hiding in certain insects' skin. The Tunnel of Love in Ukraine is a nearly 2-mile stretch of railway line, completely canopied by trees forming a natural arch. Couples believe that if they walk hand in hand and make a wish, it will come true. The twist? The tunnel only exists because a freight train passes through daily. The plastic lids on to-go coffee cups have a hidden feature. Flip it over and pop it under your cup. The base fits perfectly into the grooves. It was designed to function as an improvised coaster, catching drips from the cardboard sleeve and protecting whatever surface you set it on. A design trick almost nobody notices. Every tire on a monster truck costs around $6,000 and is built entirely by hand. But here's the thing, they run on almost no air pressure. They're basically giant cushions that absorb the impact of a 30-foot drop. Deep in the Amazon, there's a species of bee that evolved to eat rotting flesh instead of collecting pollen. They have no stinger, but they still produce honey that humans can eat, technically made from decomposing animal carcasses. A biological anomaly that breaks everything we thought we knew about bees. Prairie dogs don't just bark, they have a vocabulary complex enough to describe a predator in precise detail. A study showed they can distinguish between a tall human in a blue shirt and a short one in a yellow shirt, adjusting the frequency of their calls to give the entire colony an accurate description of exactly who's approaching. The sandbox tree produces fruit that looks like a small pumpkin. When it ripens, it explodes like a grenade, launching seeds at over 150 miles per hour, nearly 150 feet in every direction. The blast is loud enough to be heard across an entire forest. The Burj Khalifa faces a massive engineering challenge because of wind and something called the chimney effect. The pressure difference between the base and the top is enormous, and hot air rising through the interior creates powerful air currents. That's why almost every window is sealed shut at those heights. The suction would be violent enough to drag objects through openings and make it nearly impossible to close a door. On a restaurant wine list, the product with the highest profit margin is almost always the second cheapest option. The owner knows you don't want to look cheap ordering the bottom of the list, so you pick the second one. And that's exactly the one they've marked up the most. A psychological trick that works on almost everyone. Brown bears sharpen their claws on mineral-rich rocks to file them down and kill off parasites. They also stand on their hind legs to scratch tree trunks as high as possible, leaving scent marks that signal their size and dominance to other bears. No fighting necessary, pure power politics. In the Gir forest in the Indian state of Gujarat lives the last wild population of Asiatic lions on Earth. They're slightly smaller than their African cousins, have a distinctive fold of skin along their belly, and live in smaller prides because the prey available in dense forest. Supermarket automatic doors don't use a camera. That black box above the entrance is a microwave radar that constantly fires invisible pulses toward the floor. When you walk toward the door, the pulses bounce back at a different frequency, and the computer detects that something large is moving toward it. The water buffalo has an evolutionary secret in its hooves. They're unusually wide, with a hyper-flexible joint that spreads the toes like flippers when it steps into mud. That spreads its nearly 2,000-pound body weight evenly across the surface, letting it walk across deep mud without sinking, essential for working in the flooded rice paddies of Asia. In Japan, an estimated 1.5 million young people are living as hikikomori, crushed by the relentless pressure to perform academically and never fail. They collapse psychologically and retreat into their rooms. Some go up to 10 years without stepping outside, entirely dependent on their parents to survive. 25% of modern medicines, including cancer treatments and anesthetics, come from rainforest plants. And yet science has analyzed less than 1% of all species in the Amazon. We are destroying the largest pharmaceutical laboratory on the planet before we even know what cures it holds. The only insect native to Antarctica is the Belgica antarctica, a tiny midge that lost its wings through evolution so it wouldn't get blown out to sea. It lives along the warmer coastline, and its survival trick is remarkable. It freezes itself solid on purpose, suspending all biological activity through the winter and waits for the Antarctic summer sun to thaw it back to life. The Great Migration in the Serengeti, 1.5 million wildebeest and zebras moving in an endless circle across Africa, has a staggering ecological impact. These massive herds deposit over 440 tons of dung every single day. That enormous natural fertilizer, combined with the constant churning of their hooves, is literally what keeps the African plains alive and fertile. Your body temperature is controlled by the hypothalamus. In the heat, it dilates blood vessels to release warmth and triggers sweating. In extreme cold, it pulls blood away from your fingers and nose to protect your vital organs and sends a signal to your muscles to start shaking violently, generating heat through pure friction just to keep you alive. Every giant panda in the world is owned by the Chinese government. China leases them to foreign zoos for around $1 million a year. If a cub is born abroad, it still belongs to China and must be returned within a few years. It's one of Beijing's most powerful tools of international diplomacy. LiDAR technology has revealed something extraordinary beneath the Amazon jungle. Massive networks of lost megacities, pyramids, roads, and aqueducts that housed millions of people before Europeans arrived. Aircraft equipped with laser scanners can see straight through the forest canopy to map the ground below. The dingo fence in Australia, built in the 1800s, stretches over 3,500 miles. That's longer than the distance from New York to Los Angeles and back. Its only purpose: keep wild dingoes out of the southeast, where millions of sheep are raised on fertile grazing land. Cruise ship cabin walls aren't drywall or concrete, they're solid steel panels, required by strict fire safety codes, which means you can use magnetic hooks anywhere on the walls and even the ceiling to hang jackets, maps, or hats. A travel trick almost nobody on board knows about. Lilies are extremely toxic to cats. Licking a little pollen or drinking the water from a vase is enough to trigger fatal kidney failure within days. The most alarming part? Most owners have no idea that one of the most common flowers in bouquets and gardens can be so lethal to their pet. The babi rusa is a wild pig from Indonesia whose upper tusks don't grow downward, they grow up through its own snout and curve back toward its eyes. If the male doesn't find hard enough trees to grind them down daily, those tusks will slowly pierce his own skull and kill him. What we call a daisy isn't actually a single flower. It's a disguised bouquet. The yellow center is made up of hundreds of tiny, individual, tube-shaped flowers packed together. And every white petal you pluck playing "Loves Me, Loves Me Not," botanically, each one is a complete, independent flower. One daisy is an entire colony of flowers in disguise. When a powerlifter arches their back dramatically on a bench press, they're not cheating and they don't have bad form. By arching, they retract their shoulder blades and pin them into the bench, protecting the rotator cuff while physically shortening the distance the bar has to travel. It's a legitimate technique that allows significantly more weight to be moved using the lower chest almost exclusively. The Victor Emmanuel Monument in Rome is so blindingly white in sunlight that locals have given it two nicknames: the wedding cake and the typewriter. It was built by demolishing an entire medieval neighborhood, and it's so absurdly massive that during construction, workers held a dinner for 20 people inside the belly of the horse statue before sealing it shut permanently. Male canaries literally delete part of their own brain every winter in order to learn new songs in the spring. They lose roughly 20% of their neural mass, then regenerate it months later to store completely new melodies. Jamais vu is the opposite of déjà vu. It happens when you look at something completely familiar, a loved one's face, a simple word like car, and for a few seconds your brain doesn't recognize it at all. It feels alien, strange, meaningless. It's a recognition glitch that happens to almost everyone's brain at some point. On Assateague Island in Virginia, you don't just find seagulls on the beach. Entire herds of wild horses gallop across the white sand and wade into the waves. They've been there for hundreds of years, most likely descendants of survivors from a Spanish shipwreck adapted to drinking from puddles and grazing on salty dune grass. Leopards live inside the city limits of Mumbai. At night, they slip through the streets like shadows to hunt stray dogs, while millions of people sleep just yards away. These are apex predators fully adapted to life inside one of the loudest, most densely populated cities on the planet. The Bay of Fundy in Canada experiences the most extreme tides on Earth. The bay's funnel shape creates a resonance effect that raises and lowers the sea level by over 50 feet every 12 hours, the height of a 5-story building. The volume of water moving in and out with each tide exceeds the combined flow of every freshwater river on Earth. On a roller coaster, there is only one motor in the entire structure, the chain that pulls you up the first big hill. After that drop, the ride has no engine at all. Every twist, loop, and turn for the next 2 minutes runs entirely on gravity and the conversion of potential energy into kinetic energy. Just pure physics. In Seoul, food delivery is on another level. You don't even need to be home. The driver tracks you by GPS and finds you in the park. The food arrives hot, served in real ceramic dishes with actual metal cutlery. And about an hour later, that same driver comes back to pick up the dirty plates. A system that exists nowhere else on Earth. Soda bottles have 5 raised segments at the base instead of a flat bottom for a reason. That star shape distributes the internal gas pressure evenly across the structure. A completely flat base would bulge outward under the pressure, and the bottle wouldn't stand up on any surface. Engineering hidden in plain sight. The glass squid is almost completely transparent except for its eyes and digestive gland. To avoid being spotted by predators looking up from below, it has light-producing organs directly under its eyes that emit the exact same light coming down from the sun above. An active biological camouflage system that makes it virtually invisible, a living invisibility cloak. In the village of Nagoro in Japan, a resident started making life-size straw dolls to replace every neighbor who died or moved away. Today, there are over 350 dolls placed at bus stops, in schools, and in gardens, outnumbering the few living residents who remain by more than 10 to 1. Cologne Cathedral survived World War II, even as most of the city was leveled by Allied bombing raids. It was hit by over a dozen bombs and sustained serious damage but never collapsed. The story goes that pilots used its massive twin towers as a visual landmark to orient themselves during aerial missions, though the idea that they had strict orders not to destroy it remains a disputed legend. That perfect white sand at luxury beach resorts, it didn't come from the ocean. Because natural sand is scarce, companies buy mountain rocks from quarries, feed them into industrial crushers, and grind them into powder. When you're sunbathing on those beaches, you're actually lying on mechanically pulverized mountain stone engineered to look like the Caribbean. The Indian rhinoceros has skin divided into thick plates, separated by deep folds that look exactly like metal rivets, making it look like a prehistoric animal wearing custom-fitted steel armor. Unlike the African rhino, it has only one horn. And despite that armored, tank-like appearance, it's an exceptional swimmer. Most adult dogs are lactose intolerant, As they grow up, they lose the enzyme that digests milk. Giving cow's milk to your adult dog will probably cause stomach cramps and diarrhea. Cartoons have been lying to you for decades. The world's shortest commercial flight connects the Scottish islands of Westray and Papa Westray. Official flight time, 90 seconds. With a good tailwind, the pilot can do it in under a minute. The record is 47 seconds. You spend more time buckling your seatbelt than actually flying. Fingerprints aren't fully programmed by your DNA. That's why identical twins have different prints. They form when a fetus touches the walls of the uterus while moving. The pressure of those contacts combined with the amniotic fluid creates the unique ridges you'll carry on your fingertips for the rest of your life. That rush of wind you feel in a subway station before the train arrives has a name, the piston effect. The train pushes a column of compressed air ahead of it through the tunnel. Engineers designed this on purpose. It naturally ventilates the station and flushes out stale air without burning energy on giant additional fans. Your bones aren't dry and white like the ones in a museum. Inside your body, they're soaked, pinkish, and rough in texture. They're packed with blood vessels and living cells. If you could touch one from the inside, it wouldn't feel like cold stone. It would feel completely alive, warm, and wet. A single teaspoon of material from a neutron star would weigh around 6 billion tons. That's roughly the same as compressing every human being on Earth into a sugar cube. Neutron stars are so impossibly dense that the matter inside them is beyond anything the human brain can truly comprehend. That soreness you feel the day after a workout isn't lactic acid crystals stabbing your muscles. That myth was debunked decades ago. It's actual micro tears in your muscle fibers. Your body inflames the area to repair them and build them back stronger. It's not damage, it's construction. The shower curtain sticks to your legs because of the Bernoulli effect. Fast falling water accelerates the air around it, dropping the pressure inside the shower. The higher pressure air outside pushes the curtain inward, and the moisture makes it cling to your skin. Not a design flaw, just fluid physics doing its thing. Fever isn't the illness, it's the cure. Your body deliberately raises its internal temperature because most viruses and bacteria function poorly in the heat. Your body turns itself into an oven to cook the invaders alive. Bringing the fever down too soon can actually slow your recovery. Europe is the only continent on Earth with no official desert defined by near-zero rainfall. There are semi-arid zones like Tabernas in southern Spain and parts of Highland Iceland, but none qualify as a true desert by international geographic standards. A fact that genuinely surprises most people when they first hear it. At 60 miles per hour, just 3 seconds of distraction at the wheel means traveling over 260 feet completely blind. That's nearly the length of a football field without looking at the road. A chameleon's tongue handles 17 times that limit without breaking a sweat. The compound that creates foam in your shampoo and toothpaste, sodium lauryl sulfate, has zero actual cleaning power. Chemists add it purely for consumer psychology. Our brains associate bubbles with cleanliness. Without foam, we don't feel clean, even though the product works exactly the same without it. You've been buying bubbles your whole life. The honey badger has skin so thick and so loosely attached to its body that if a leopard grabs it by the back of the neck, the honey badger can literally twist around inside its own skin, turn to face the predator, and bite it in the face. What looks like a capture is actually a trap. Your heart has its own independent electrical system called the sinoatrial node. Unlike your arm muscles, which need the brain to tell them to move, the heart runs itself. A surgeon can remove a heart from a chest, and it will keep beating on its own on the operating table, as long as it has access to oxygen. The muscle that doesn't need a brain. When you find someone physically attractive, your brain automatically assumes they're also smarter, kinder, and more trustworthy. It's called the halo effect, a cognitive bias advertisers exploit constantly to make you trust a product just because of the model's face. A mental trap that operates completely below the level of conscious awareness. Airplane wheels don't spin before they hit the runway. They arrive completely stationary. The white smoke you see at landing is the tire-burning rubber in an instant, going from 150 miles per hour to 0 in a millisecond, shredding a layer of rubber with every single landing to match the plane's speed to the ground. The cassowary is considered the most dangerous bird in the world. It has a 5-inch central claw on each foot, razor sharp. It can leap 6 feet into the air and deliver a downward kick powerful enough to split open the abdomen of a full-grown predator in a single strike. Looks peaceful, absolutely lethal. Yawning has nothing to do with getting more oxygen into your blood. That's a myth with no scientific backing. The most accepted theory today is that it cools the brain. Opening your mouth and breathing in pulls cool air across the blood vessels in your face and skull, boosting mental performance right when you need it most. The Australian white ibis, mockingly nicknamed the trash chicken for raiding park bins, is surprisingly intelligent. It has learned to hunt the cane toad, a notoriously toxic amphibian, by washing it in river water and scrubbing it against rocks until all the venom is removed before eating it. A brilliant solution to a potentially fatal problem. Escalator steps have those deep grooves for a mechanical reason, not to prevent slipping. At the top and bottom, a metal plate with matching teeth slots perfectly into those grooves, forming a barrier. If the steps were smooth, small rocks, litter, and shoelaces would get pulled under the floor and destroy the motor. Engineering hidden in plain sight. Modern industrial tractors don't need a human driver. They use high-precision military-grade GPS technology called RTK, which guides them with a margin of error of less than 1 inch. The driver just watches screens while the machine plants and harvests a field the size of 100 football stadiums entirely on its own. Fully automated farming already exists. In northern France, there's a zone covering hundreds of square miles, significantly larger than the city of Paris, where entry has been strictly prohibited for over a century. After World War I, the soil was so saturated with lead, arsenic, mercury, and millions of unexploded shells. The whale shark, the largest fish in the world, has no eyelids. Its evolutionary solution is to cover the surface of its eyeballs with thousands of tiny dermal denticles, microscopic tooth-shaped scales that grow directly on the eye to shield it from predators and abrasion. It armored its own eyes. The Goliath frog, the size of a house cat, weighing over 7 pounds, doesn't build the typical foam nest. It's strong enough to lift and move rocks weighing over 4 pounds to build physical dams in rivers across Central Africa, protecting its tadpoles from the current. The world's largest frog is also a hydraulic engineer. The giant Pacific octopus can weigh over 150 pounds and stretch nearly 30 feet across. It has 3 hearts, 9 brains, and blue blood because it uses copper instead of iron to carry oxygen. And with no bones anywhere in its body, it can compress its entire massive frame through any hole large enough to fit its beak, which is roughly the size of a coin. Your microwave plate rotates out of necessity, not luxury. Inside the oven, there are zones of extreme heat and dead zones with virtually none. Without that spinning glass plate moving your food through the hot spots, you'd have half your soup boiling and the other half stone cold. Without the rotation, the microwave would be nearly useless. A green bell pepper isn't a different species from a red one. It's the same fruit, just unripe and bitter. Leave it on the plant long enough and it turns red and sweet. That's why red peppers cost more. They take longer and more water to grow. The one caveat: yellow and orange peppers are usually distinct varieties bred specifically for those colors, not just a green pepper passing through every shade on the way to red. The two-humped Bactrian camel of the Gobi Desert makes bears and lions look fragile. It survives summer heat over 120 degrees Fahrenheit and winter blizzards at -22 degrees Fahrenheit. It can drink salt water without getting sick, and lose up to 30% of its body water while still walking without any trouble. Cork doesn't come from a cut-down tree. It comes from the cork oak, grown mainly in Portugal and Spain. Every 9 to 12 years, workers peel the bark like removing a coat. The tree is left completely bare and spends the next decade regrowing that thick layer. Add salt to pineapple and it tastes sweeter. Not a trick, pure chemistry. Pineapple contains hidden acidic and bitter compounds. Salt temporarily shuts down the bitterness receptors on your tongue. With that signal blocked, your brain only receives the sweetness, making the fruit taste dramatically sweeter than it actually is. People in the Philippines do this all the time. The largest container ships in the world have engines the size of a 3-story building. Their pistons move so slowly, around 100 revolutions per minute, that you could watch them rise and fall if you were standing inside. And yet they generate the equivalent force of 100,000 horsepower. Impossibly slow. Absolutely brutal. The bowhead whale can live for over 211 years, far outlasting any human lifespan. Its genome has evolved to duplicate the genes responsible for DNA repair and cancer suppression, allowing it to age without the degenerative diseases that kill other mammals. It's the longest-lived mammal on the planet. Your eyes have a blind spot where the optic nerve connects to the retina. You never notice it because your brain is running Photoshop in real time. It samples information from your other eye and the surrounding colors to fill in the gaps seamlessly, literally inventing what isn't there. You have a hole in your vision that you've never once seen because your brain won't let you. The warthog typically enters its burrow backwards. That way, its tusks and armored head always face the entrance, turning its own body into an impenetrable plug against any predator trying to come in. One of the simplest and most effective defensive strategies in the animal kingdom, using the architecture of its own home as a weapon. In a healthy adult with no allergies, the lethal dose of bee venom is reached through kidney failure from accumulated toxin. The average person could survive somewhere between 1,000 and 1,100 simultaneous stings before the body collapses. But if you're allergic, a single sting is enough to trigger fatal anaphylactic shock. After just 14 days of complete inactivity, your body starts consuming its own muscles. Because maintaining them costs energy, your body assumes you no longer need. Within weeks, you lose up to 20% of your cardiovascular capacity. The human body is ruthless about resources it isn't using. If you don't use it, it gets rid of it. The Antarctic ice fish has no red blood. Evolution stripped away all its red blood cells. They'd freeze solid in those waters. Instead, it pumps a completely transparent liquid loaded with antifreeze proteins. Those proteins physically bind to ice crystals the moment they start forming in its veins, preventing the fish from turning into a block of ice from the inside out. Cows have a 4-chamber stomach and can't digest grass on the first pass. They swallow it barely chewed, ferment it in the first chamber, then regurgitate it back into their mouths. They spend hours rechewing that material to break down the tough plant cellulose before swallowing it a second time. Completely involuntary, happening constantly. A gasoline engine needs to spin up to thousands of revolutions per minute before it delivers real power. An electric motor delivers 100% of its torque from the moment you touch the accelerator, 0 miles per hour, full force, instant. That's why electric cars out-accelerate gas-powered supercars off the line. It's not magic, it's physics. The bullet ant sting is considered the most painful insect sting on Earth. Survivors describe it as identical to being shot, and the pain lasts up to 24 hours without fading. In the Sadare Mawe tribe of the Amazon, the rite of passage into adulthood requires young men to wear gloves filled with live bullet ants for 10 full minutes. Raw olives straight off the tree are essentially inedible. Bite into one and your body will reject it immediately. They contain a compound called oleoropene, so intensely bitter and astringent, it triggers an involuntary response. To make them edible, humans had to develop a months-long chemical process using salt, ash lye, or brine to neutralize that bitterness. Penguins have no bone teeth, but their tongues and palates are lined with sharp, backward-pointing spines made of keratin. Fish are slippery. Once one enters a penguin's beak, those rearward-facing spikes make it physically impossible for the fish to slide back out. A capture system of brutal, elegant efficiency. When you press your brake pedal, you're pushing an incompressible fluid through narrow tubes. That force travels and physically multiplies when it reaches larger pistons at the wheels. Pascal's principle in action. Those pistons clamp pads against a metal disc. Every bit of the car's kinetic energy gets converted into extreme heat through friction. That's what stops you. Building the Athens metro took decades longer than planned because every time workers dug a new tunnel, they found an ancient city underneath. Today, some stations are literally underground museums. With glass walls displaying the exact archaeological layers, workers had to navigate around to lay the tracks. Athens has history in every literal layer. The Tower of Belém in Lisbon was built around 1515 right at the edge of the Tagus River to defend the city from approaching ships. Over the centuries, river sediment and land reclamation gradually shifted the coastline until the tower ended up almost entirely on dry land. A fortress built on water, now a monument on the shore. In the middle of the Atacama Desert, the driest place on Earth, a giant human hand bursts out of the sand, nearly 36 feet tall. It's a concrete sculpture by Mario Irarrázaval, built to make you feel the crushing smallness of a single human being against the absolute vastness and silence of the desert. The Hawaiian Islands are drifting toward Alaska at about 2.5 inches per year, roughly the same rate. Your fingernails grow riding a tectonic plate that never stops moving. Millions of years from now, what is now a tropical paradise will be sitting in the freezing waters of the Arctic. The most expensive parking spot in the world is in Hong Kong, where a single space has sold for over $1 million. Real estate is so scarce there that a place to leave your car is worth more than a luxury apartment in most other cities on Earth. Benidorm has the highest density of skyscrapers per square foot in the world outside of New York City. And it wasn't an accident. The vertical design was deliberate, meant to let ocean breezes flow between buildings and ensure that even people in the 10th row of towers could see the Mediterranean from their balcony. Brilliant urban planning that nobody planned to be brilliant. Traffic signs are coated with thousands of microscopic glass spheres that act as retro-reflective mirrors. They bounce your headlights directly back toward your eyes, making the sign glow intensely in complete darkness without any power source of its own. A completely passive road safety system of extraordinary effectiveness. Those strings you peel off a banana are called phloem bundles. They're essentially the fruit's veins, the channels that carried nutrients and sugars through the banana as it grew on the tree. They're completely edible and highly nutritious, even if the texture bothers people. They're not a defect. They're core to the fruit's biology. Anacondas don't kill by suffocation, they kill by cutting off circulation. Every time the prey exhales, the anaconda tightens its grip just enough to stop blood flow. The heart runs out of blood to pump and goes into cardiac arrest within seconds. The animal is dead long before it ever runs out of air to breathe. Matcha is grown in the dark. Weeks before harvest, farmers cover the plants with black tarps to block out the sun. The plant, panicking from the lack of light, floods itself with chlorophyll and L-theanine in a survival response. That's what gives it that neon green color and why its caffeine delivers calm, focused energy instead of jitters. In 2024, archaeologists uncovered a massive banquet hall in Pompeii painted entirely in black. It wasn't a gloomy choice, it was practical. The owners painted the walls black specifically so smoke and soot from oil lamps wouldn't stain the decor. Those dark walls preserve stunning frescoes of Helen of Troy and Apollo, frozen for nearly 2,000 years. Visa and MasterCard have some of the highest profit margins on Earth. They don't lend money, they don't take on default risk your bank does, They're simply the digital toll booth on the highway of money, collecting a small percentage on millions of transactions per second with almost zero maintenance cost. When the dry season hits, some caimans don't migrate in search of water, they do the opposite. They dig into wet mud, slow their heart rate down to 1 beat per minute, and let the mud dry and harden into a clay shell around their bodies. Then they sleep for months, sealed inside until the rains return. A hotel star rating has nothing to do with luxury or beauty. It measures rigid legal requirements. In many European countries, the law mandates specific corridor widths, 24-hour reception, valet parking, and room service. You could build the most gorgeous boutique hotel on the planet, but without an elevator or a doorman, the law gives you 3 stars. Seagulls sometimes stand on grass and stomp the ground rapidly, like they're tap dancing. They're not playing, they're mimicking the sound and vibration of heavy rain. Earthworms, thinking they're about to drown, come up to the surface and the gull eats them without digging for a single second. Padel was invented in 1969 when a Mexican businessman wanted a tennis court at his house in Acapulco, but didn't have the space. He built a smaller court, but he was a terrible player and kept smashing balls into his neighbor's garden. His fix was to put up cement walls so the ball would bounce back in. Modern padel was born from a neighbor dispute. ATVs have 4 wheels, but their center of gravity is extremely high, and the rear axle usually has no differential. People rent them thinking 4 wheels means safer than a motorcycle. It's a deadly mistake. Take a sharp corner even slightly too fast without shifting your weight like a trained rider, and the ATV digs in, rolls, and crushes you under 330 pounds of metal. The Milky Way contains between 100 billion and 400 billion stars, but satellites have confirmed there are over 3 trillion trees on Earth. There are more trees on this planet than stars in our entire galaxy. A comparison that reframes what vast actually means. After World War II, metal was scarce and cars had to be tiny. The company that designed the BMW Isetta was a refrigerator manufacturer. So the car opened exactly like a fridge. The entire front of the vehicle was a single door. The steering wheel and pedals were bolted to that door and folded outward when you stepped out. The skin on a guanaco's neck is up to 3 times thicker than the rest of its body. When a puma attacks with its signature throat bite, the fangs often get literally stuck in that dense hide, giving the guanaco the seconds it needs to kick free and escape. Evolution built it a biological bulletproof vest, right at the point of attack. Air fryers are just small convection ovens. They have a heating element and an extremely powerful fan that blasts hot air at high speed through a tight space, crisping the outside of food to mimic the texture of oil frying. The name air fryer is a complete marketing lie and an incredibly effective one. The 3 mushrooms you see at any grocery store, white button, brown cremini, and portobello, are the exact same species. The only difference is age. The white button is the baby, the cremini is the teenager, and the portobello is the adult left to fully mature, sold as if they're different varieties. They're the same organism at 3 stages of life. A snake's outer skin is rigid keratin, it doesn't stretch. When the snake eats and grows, it no longer fits in its own suit. Shedding the entire skin in one piece also strips away every parasite, mite, and tick that had attached itself to its body over months. 1 process, 2 results. A new size and a full body deworming. The summit of Mount Everest, nearly 29,000 feet above sea level, is made of limestone packed with fossilized shells, trilobites, and sea lilies. Millions of years ago, India and Asia collided, and the immense tectonic force folded the ancient ocean floor upward, pushing the bottom of a prehistoric sea all the way to the roof of the world. Sushi doesn't mean raw fish. The actual translation from Japanese is sour rice or acidic rice. Originally, it was a preservation method. Raw fish was packed between layers of fermented rice, so the acid killed bacteria and the fish could last for months. The strange part? In the early days, the Japanese discarded the rice and only ate the cured fish inside. Owls look like fat, round birds with small claws peeking out below. It's all an illusion created by feathers. Lift them and you'll find extremely long, bony, muscular legs that account for nearly half their total body size. They need that massive undercarriage as a landing system to absorb the impact of diving from the sky at full speed to snatch prey off the ground. The treadmill was invented in 1818 as a prison torture device for English inmates. It was a giant cylinder with steps. Prisoners were forced to walk on it like a hamster for 6 to 10 hours a day to grind grain or pump water. It destroyed so many joints that it was banned in the 19th century for being excessively cruel and inhumane. Penguins gave up flying to become underwater torpedoes. Water is 800 times denser than air. Long feathered wings are perfect for flight but useless for pushing through water under pressure. Evolution fused the bones in their wings and converted them into rigid flippers, making them clumsy on land and lethal in the ocean. Only 2% of sunlight ever reaches the floor of a rainforest. The canopy, 130 feet above, is so thick it blocks almost everything. The plants below live in near total darkness, which is why they evolved massive dark leaves to capture every last scrap of available light. When an old tree finally falls, thousands of plants immediately launch a life-or-death race to reach the gap. The Fisherman's Bastion in Budapest was never a real defensive castle. It was built in the late 19th century as a luxury scenic terrace for wealthy city residents to stroll along and admire the Danube. Its name comes from the Guild of Fishermen who once defended that stretch of medieval wall, but the current structure. An electric car makes no noise because its motor burns nothing and has no pistons firing. It uses magnetic fields pushing against each other to smoothly spin an axle. The only physical friction is tires on asphalt and wind against the body. No explosions, no vibration. The silence isn't a design flaw, it's the natural consequence of how the technology works. High-speed trains slow down before entering a tunnel, because entering at full speed would push the air like a syringe plunger. That compressed air would blast out the other end of the tunnel as a sonic boom powerful enough to shatter windows in nearby homes. The Kia parrot of New Zealand is the world's only alpine parrot and a nightmare for anyone who parks near the mountains. Flocks will descend on your car and work as a team, using their sharp beaks to systematically strip out your windshield wipers, window seals, and hubcaps. They're not looking for food. They're solving the puzzle of your vehicle for the fun of it. The Bridge of Sighs in Venice was not built for romantics. It connected the interrogation chambers of the ducal palace directly to the prison cells. The sighs weren't from lovers, they were the literal cries of political prisoners crossing the bridge, catching a glimpse through the small windows of what they knew would be their last view of sunlight. A tiny male pufferfish spends weeks drawing perfect geometric mandalas in the sand on the ocean floor, over 6 feet wide. He swims non-stop, using his fins to sculpt hypnotic, symmetrical patterns with one single purpose: to impress a female and convince her to lay her eggs in the center. Planes have yellow hooks on top of the wings for water landing emergencies. If a plane ditches in the ocean, the wet wings become a deadly, slippery slide. Flight attendants run a rope from the emergency exit and clip it to those hooks, creating an improvised handrail so passengers can walk along the wing without sliding off into the water. Someone who is actually drowning doesn't scream or wave their arms. The body enters an automatic drowning response, an involuntary survival mode. The person goes silent, stays vertical, head barely above the surface, arms pushing straight down as if climbing an invisible ladder. Lifeguards are trained to look for quiet faces that are sinking, not people who are shouting. The panther chameleon doesn't change color to camouflage, it changes based on temperature and emotional state. And on a completely different scale of hidden, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge stretches over 40,000 miles across the ocean floor, making it the longest mountain range on the planet almost entirely invisible to us. Human chimerism is real. Sometimes in a twin pregnancy, one embryo dies very early and the other absorbs it. The surviving person is born healthy but is a biological chimera carrying two completely different DNA profiles in the same body. Their blood may have one DNA while their reproductive organs carry the genetic code of a twin who never existed. Fetal microchimerism reveals something even stranger. During pregnancy, thousands of the baby's stem cells cross the placenta into the mother's bloodstream. Those cells settle into her heart, lungs, and brain and can stay there for decades after birth. If the mother suffers a heart attack years later, cells from her child travel to the damaged tissue and transform into new cells to help repair it. Parrots give their chicks names in the wild. When a chick is born, the parents assign it a unique vocal signature. The chick memorizes that sound, and when it's grown and flying through the jungle, it uses that call to introduce itself to other parrots. They don't imitate human speech by accident. They already have their own system of personal identity that works exactly like a name. Wash a duck with dish soap and it will sink. Ducks float because their feathers are waterproofed with oil secreted by their uropygial gland. Destroy that oil with soap and the feathers absorb water. The bird becomes heavy as a stone and goes under. Never wash a duck with soap. Its biological waterproofing is not a bonus feature, it's essential to staying alive. Sunflowers were planted in massive numbers after both the Chernobyl and Fukushima nuclear disasters. These plants are hyperaccumulators capable of absorbing lethal radioactive isotopes like cesium and strontium directly out of contaminated soil, storing them in their stems and flowers. At the end of the season, the radioactive sunflowers are harvested and incinerated in sealed containers. Your telomeres are the protective caps on your DNA, like the little plastic tip on the end of a shoelace. Every time your cells divide to keep you alive, that tip gets a little shorter. Over the years, it disappears completely. The DNA gets damaged, cells lose their ability to repair themselves. That slow, irreversible breakdown of your organs is what we call aging. 90% of the body's serotonin is produced in the gut. Not the brain, though. That intestinal serotonin barely crosses into the brain and mostly handles digestion. But the gut-brain connection is real. A diet heavy in ultra-processed foods can inflame the gut and disrupt the bacteria living there. And a growing body of research links that inflammation to mood. Eating well isn't just about how you look, it may directly affect how you feel. Scientists created a quartz crystal capable of storing 360 terabytes of data for billions of years, no power required. It uses 5-dimensional laser engraving inside glass and can withstand temperatures up to 1812 degrees Fahrenheit. On the paradise island of Siquijor in the Philippines, you'll find the breathtaking Cambagahe Falls, famous for their deep, crystal-clear turquoise water. The cascades drop in a series of natural terraces, each between 6 and 13 feet high, framed by thick jungle and raw rock formations. In Anchorage, Alaska, a moose casually walked into a hospital lobby like it owned the place. Lured by the warmth and possibly the smell of decorative plants, it strolled right through the automatic doors as if it had an appointment, leaving patients and staff completely speechless. Everyone grabbed their phones before the moose decided to walk itself back out into the snow. Pizza was born in Naples, Italy, originally just flatbreads eaten by the poor, dressed with olive oil and herbs. Tomatoes, brought over from the Americas, didn't show up until centuries later. The modern pizza as we know it emerged in Naples around the 1800s. In 1889, a pizza topped with mozzarella, basil, and tomato was created in honor of Queen Margherita of Savoy, the colors of the Italian flag. Today, it's the most popular dish on the planet. Félicette was the first cat ever launched into space, sent up by France in 1963. Her brainwaves and vital signs were monitored throughout the mission to study how spaceflight affects living creatures. She survived the return, and her contribution to science marked a key milestone in space exploration. The island of Pheasant, sitting in the Bidasoa River, changes countries every 6 months thanks to a treaty signed between France and Spain in 1659. Sovereignty alternates between the two nations on a rotating schedule, making it one of the most peculiar international agreements in history and one of Europe's strangest border destinations. At the 2025 World Boxing Championship, gloves were fitted with sensors that measured the force and speed of every single punch in real time. That data went straight to coaches mid-fight, letting them adjust strategy on the fly and reduce injury risk. A major leap forward. Traditional sport meets precision technology. Scientists at the KAIST Institute in South Korea restored vision without surgery. Their technique eliminates a protein that blocks neural regeneration in the retina, allowing damaged cells to repair and recover function. This discovery could transform the lives of millions living with partial or total blindness from retinal degeneration. The world's largest ball of paint is in Indiana. It started as a simple baseball on January 1, 1977, with one coat of paint added every single day since. Today it weighs over 9,670 pounds, a completely insane, ever-growing mountain of color that just keeps getting bigger. Every July in Anguiano, Spain, 8 young men strap on 18-inch stilts and descend a steep cobblestone slope in a dance that's been celebrated for over 400 years. The tradition honors Saint Mary Magdalene. The dancers spin as they go down, no harness, no protection, nothing but skill and sheer nerve. In China, robot baristas are running entire coffee shops using precision sensors and mechanical arms to brew and serve drinks with zero inconsistency. Every cup is customized to the customer's exact preferences. It's a glimpse at how automation is quietly taking over the modern food industry. Researchers at the University of Washington created AI-powered headphones that build a personal sound bubble around you. The system detects the nearest voice and blocks out everything farther away, even in noisy environments. It analyzes the source of every sound in real time, perfect for video calls or anywhere crowds are loud. Some squirrels do something surprisingly sophisticated. They hang mushrooms on tree branches to air dry them. By dehydrating the fungi, they prevent bacteria and larvae from ruining their food stash, keeping their winter supplies in perfect condition for months. Pure animal ingenuity, no recipe book needed. Lemurs have one of the strangest habits in the animal kingdom. They bite the heads off millipedes to trigger a release of toxins, then rub those toxins all over their bodies. It works as a parasite repellent, but it also produces a narcotic effect that leaves them visibly out of it. Dangerous, weird, and somehow brilliant. Dubai is already testing electric flying taxis controlled by artificial intelligence. They carry up to 2 passengers at speeds of 75 miles per hour and are designed to ease urban traffic congestion. They're also fully electric, making them a genuine bet on clean, futuristic air transport that could spark a global revolution in passenger mobility. In Bangladesh, a project launched in 2025 created a floating library on the Brahmaputra River to bring education to flood-isolated villages. The boat travels to communities cut off from schools and has already taught over 2,000 children to read and write. A powerful example of fighting illiteracy in places disaster keeps disconnecting from the world. When the Rubik's Cube was invented, a mathematician predicted it would take at least a month to solve without advanced algebra knowledge. Reality proved very different. With practice and observation, millions of people cracked it. Today, competitors solve it in under 10 seconds. A global icon of logic, patience, and raw mental speed. The chess rule that lets pawns move 2 squares on their first move didn't always exist. It was introduced in Spain in 1280 to make games faster and more dynamic. Before that, pawns moved 1 square at a time every move. That single change completely transformed the strategy and pace of the modern game. Bats use echolocation to navigate in total darkness, emitting high-frequency sounds and reading the echoes. To protect their own ears from the intensity, they can actually shut their auditory muscles just before each sound fires. That split-second precision lets them hear the echo without damaging themselves. A perfect biological adaptation to a nocturnal life. Dogs have a skill developed over thousands of years of domestication that no other species has matched: understanding human pointing gestures. This ability doesn't just make them easier to communicate with, it's been essential for hunting, guarding, and search and rescue work throughout human history. A cat's brain is structurally much closer to a human's than a dog's brain is. The organization and folding of the cerebral cortex are strikingly similar to ours. That shared architecture and how information gets processed helps explain the deep emotional bonds cats form with their owners. Dolphins can replace up to 90% of the air in their lungs with a single breath. Humans manage about 15%. That extraordinary lung efficiency lets them stay submerged for extended periods without constantly surfacing. And their advanced respiratory control is directly linked to their remarkable intelligence. African elephants use mud as natural sunscreen. A full coat of mud shields their skin from ultraviolet rays, repels mosquitoes and parasites, and regulates body temperature to keep them cool. A critical survival adaptation that shows just how resourceful these animals are in demanding ecosystems. The gerenuk, also called the giraffe gazelle, lives in the arid regions of East Africa and can go its entire life without drinking a single drop of water. It gets all the moisture it needs from the leaves it eats. Its kidneys produce highly concentrated urine, and its elongated neck lets it reach branches no other herbivore can. Walt Disney discovered that visitors at Disneyland would walk an average of 30 steps before dropping their trash on the ground. His solution: place trash cans no more than 30 steps apart throughout the entire park. A brilliantly simple fix that transformed cleanliness and proved that small details create huge experiences. Seals, sea lions, and walruses are close relatives of bears, sharing a common ancestor that lived over 50 million years ago. That ancestor was a land mammal that gradually adapted to life in the water. Today, as pinnipeds, they're powerful swimmers, but they still carry traits from their terrestrial past, including hind limbs they use to move on land. Dragonflies are some of the most capable flyers on Earth. They can move forward at high speed, but they can also fly backwards, something almost no other insect can do. They have nearly 360-degree vision, letting them spot prey and dodge predators with stunning precision. And their legs? Almost useless for walking. They use them mid-flight as a basket to snatch prey out of the air. King Fahd International Airport in Saudi Arabia holds the record for the world's largest airport by surface area, covering 300 square miles. That's bigger than many entire countries. It doesn't handle the most passengers. That title goes to Hartsfield-Jackson in Atlanta, but in sheer scale, nothing else comes close. A cutting-edge robotic exoskeleton was developed to help people with paralysis walk again. Lightweight and precise, it enables near-natural movement through advanced algorithms and supports both the spine and legs. Currently in clinical trials, it has the potential to restore mobility and independence to thousands of people around the world. In extreme heat, the portable neck fan has become the go-to solution for staying cool without tying up your hands. It wraps around your neck, offers 3 speed levels, and runs on a rechargeable battery. Some models add aromatherapy and LED lights, perfect for outdoor activities, sports, or travel on brutally hot days. Euro banknotes aren't made from regular paper, they're made from pure cotton. Embedded with watermarks, holograms, and high-tech security features, the production process is tightly controlled to guarantee authenticity and prevent counterfeiting. That combination of materials and technology makes them among the hardest banknotes in the world to fake. In 1961, Goodyear unveiled tires that glowed in the dark, made from a transparent material called neothane, tinted in neon colors and lit from inside by small bulbs in the rim. At night, the effect was genuinely striking. But the project was scrapped. The material melted from breaking heat and skidded on wet pavement. They never went into production. Today, they remain a retro icon of automotive history. Apple liquid glass would be an entirely new kind of interface. According to projections, Apple would use a liquid glass-like material across its devices, creating ultra-durable, responsive surfaces with a smooth and intuitive feel. Inspired by operating systems like iOS 26 and macOS, it's expected to push touchscreen technology forward in both durability and futuristic design. In Tokyo, there's a restaurant where the servers have dementia, and getting your order wrong is part of the experience. The concept is designed to build empathy and promote inclusion, showing that mistakes don't stop a meal from being memorable and fully human. A moving example of how food can become a space for genuine social awareness. In Los Angeles, an ice cream called Emoti Creme went viral on TikTok for one reason. It changes flavor based on your body temperature shifting from mango to chocolate in seconds. The way it reacted to body heat fascinated people online and turned it into one of the biggest food trends on social media. In Japan, a robot was developed capable of performing surgery autonomously. Designed to assist surgeons in complex procedures, it uses artificial intelligence to analyze real-time imaging and make incisions with millimeter precision. Its greatest advantage is operating in tight spaces and high-complexity scenarios, opening new frontiers in minimally invasive modern surgery. Dubai's 2025 Drone Festival broke records, with a show featuring 5,000 drones, creating floating three-dimensional murals in the night sky, synchronized to modern Arabic music. The event raised funds for educational projects across the Middle East and showed the world how technology and art can combine to create something truly unforgettable. Ostriches can hit speeds of 43 miles per hour, and in a real test, one outran an American football player without breaking a sweat. They can't fly, but on the ground they dominate. With raw muscular power and perfect balance, nature doesn't need running shoes to win a race. Tony Boo doesn't just ride a motorcycle, he defies the laws of physics. The most decorated trial rider in history, with over 38 world titles, his control of the bike is so precise he can scale sheer rock faces, clear impossible obstacles, and balance on surfaces barely wider than a coin feet, never touching the ground. A living legend of motorsport. The Nishiyama Onsen Keiunkan Hotel in Japan has been operating since the year 705, making it the oldest hotel on Earth still in business. Even more remarkable, it's been run by the same family for over 50 generations. Its specialty is high-quality thermal baths that carry a centuries-old, actually millennium-old tradition into the present day. In Madagascar, a chameleon discovered in 2025 can change color in just 3 seconds, the fastest of its kind ever recorded. This adaptation lets it blend into its surroundings and evade predators in an instant. Its camouflage ability has already inspired the development of smart fabrics that shift color in response to environmental conditions. The gin and tonic was born in 19th century India. The British East India Company invented it to mask the bitter taste of quinine, the medicine used to treat malaria in soldiers. Mixed with gin and carbonated water, the drink slowly spread and evolved into one of the most sophisticated and widely consumed cocktails in the world. In 2025, an underwater statue of the Virgin Mary was placed in Guanabara Bay in Brazil. Built from recycled materials, it serves as a reference point for local fishermen and actively promotes the regeneration of marine reefs. A perfect fusion of art, faith, and ecology, proof that humanity can contribute to the planet's well-being in genuinely creative ways. At the Giants tournament, one of the most brutal challenges is the Conan's wheel. Athletes must grip a steel axle weighing 440 pounds and walk in circles for as long as humanly possible. No tricks, no help, just raw strength, extreme endurance, and total mental focus. The cordyceps fungus, nicknamed nature's zombie, is known for infecting insects, hijacking their bodies, and forcing them to spread spores in strategic locations. A 2025 study revealed it could be used to create biological insecticides, cutting down the use of harmful chemicals. A major advance in biotechnology that opens the door to far more sustainable pest control methods. Transparent French fries are a snack that looks like it belongs in a science fiction film. They're made by extracting the flavor compounds from potatoes, mixing them with starch to form a gel, then frying and shaping the result. They look unreal, but the taste is completely authentic. Proof that food can surprise you in ways you never see coming. Photochromic lenses react to ultraviolet rays by darkening automatically, even on cloudy days. Photosensitive molecules inside the lens change their molecular structure when hit by sunlight, triggering the shift. They protect your eyes without the hassle of switching between regular glasses and sunglasses throughout the day. Simple, smart, and built right into the lens. Chongqing, China, isn't just a city, it's an urban monster. With over 30 million residents, it outpopulates entire countries. It functions as its own province due to its sheer size. Famous for skyscrapers, mountain landscapes, and fiery cuisine, it feels less like a city and more like a country hidden inside another country. Someone built a Lego cart with over 200 wheels. The structure challenges everything you think is possible with small plastic bricks. With that many wheels, it stopped being a vehicle and became a functional piece of engineering art that breaks every convention of design. In Vietnam, there's a drink unlike anything else: egg coffee, made by whipping egg yolks with condensed milk, sugar, and strong coffee. It produces a thick, creamy, deeply rich flavor unlike any other cup you've ever had. It's especially popular in Hanoi. Its origins trace back to wartime scarcity. Drop a gummy bear into potassium chlorate, and something wild happens. The compound is a powerful oxidizer, and when it reacts with the sugar and other ingredients inside the candy, it releases energy in a spectacular burst. It's a perfect reminder that everyday ingredients can interact in unbelievable ways, transforming ordinary objects at the molecular level. Imagine a boxing event packed with 85,000 people. At La Cartuja Stadium in Seville, a nighttime spectacle has been planned to combine boxing and entertainment on a massive scale. It would be the first edition held after dark to avoid the intense summer heat, a format built to blend athletic competition with pure showmanship. What if your motorcycle could fit inside a backpack? Poimo is an electric bike prototype that inflates when needed and folds away when you're done. Its flexible design makes it easy to carry while staying lightweight and practical. It's not on the market yet, but it offers a glimpse into the future of compact transportation built for crowded cities and fast urban travel. Mobility is getting smaller and smarter. Every year, the world throws away nearly 1 billion metric tons of food. Households are responsible for the largest share, followed by restaurants and stores. The result is massive economic losses and serious environmental damage. In a world where millions still go hungry, the contrast is impossible to ignore. Solving food waste may be one of the biggest challenges hiding in plain sight. The biggest virtual reality park in its region isn't where you'd expect. Funin VR in Minsk created an enormous VR experience packed with cutting-edge technology and fully immersive attractions. Visitors can explore digital worlds, play with friends in virtual environments, and receive technical support throughout the day. It's a playground where entertainment and innovation collide. This clock has been running for centuries. The astronomical clock of Prague, last restored in the year 2018, is the oldest working astronomical clock in the world. Crowds gather every hour to watch its animated figures come to life. Its dial tracks the position of the sun, the moon, and the zodiac signs. More than a timepiece, it's a living symbol of science, history, and craftsmanship. The most famous swimmer at the Iowa State Fair isn't human. It's a pig named Swifty. He glides through a specially designed tank with surprising skill, putting on a show that's equal parts entertainment and education. His performance proves pigs are far more agile than many people think. Watching him paddle through the water, you'd swear he trained for it his entire life. This bicycle looks like it came from the future. The Nubai bike eliminates the traditional chain and introduces a completely different vertical pedaling technique. The design reduces maintenance while improving pedaling efficiency. Because the motion activates more muscle groups, it also delivers a more complete workout. At around $3,000, it's a bold rethink of what a bicycle can be. Some dances are more than performances. In Côte d'Ivoire, the Guro people preserve the Yella Luli dance, a hypnotic tradition inspired by sacred masks. It's performed at funerals and celebrations and is believed to attract prosperity while driving away evil spirits. Dancers wear colorful costumes and imitate the forces of nature through movement, accompanied by drums and chants that deepen the ritual's mystical atmosphere. What happens when artificial intelligence writes music for a skater? At the World Figure Skating Championship in the year 2025, Ilya Malinin surprised audiences by performing to AI-generated music designed specifically to match his movements. The result was choreography that flowed seamlessly with every shift in rhythm, a glimpse into the future of sports and technology sharing the same stage. Silence is becoming a luxury. In Japan, silent cafes offer customers a place to enjoy their drinks without noise or distractions. They're designed as peaceful retreats from the rush of everyday life. Visitors can relax, meditate, or read in complete tranquility. As digital overload grows, spaces like these are becoming more valuable than ever. When Queen Elizabeth II visited the set of Game of Thrones, she came face to face with the Iron Throne. She was invited to sit on it but didn't. British royals are not allowed to sit on unofficial thrones, even fictional ones. The Queen admired it from up close without touching it, following royal protocol to the letter. Even fantasy couldn't bend tradition. A flying broom sounds like science fiction. Toyota unveiled one at the Tokyo Motor Show in the year 2019 as part of its futuristic vision. It doesn't actually fly, but a small wheel allows it to travel at about 20 miles per hour. Strange, playful, and surprisingly real, it's one more example of how companies are reimagining personal transportation. These owls communicate without making a sound. Eagle owls in Finland use blinking patterns to signal curiosity, alertness, and interest. Researchers have become so intrigued by this behavior that it has inspired applications designed to monitor their well-being by interpreting visual signals. Sometimes a blink says more than words ever could. Referees got unexpected help at the Rugby World Cup in the year 2025. Drone referees captured plays from angles impossible for traditional officials to see. The footage provided highly detailed views for reviewing decisions and ensuring fairer outcomes on the field. The technology was widely praised for bringing a new level of precision to the sport. Back in the year 1989, Bill Gates launched a company called Interactive Home Systems. Its goal was to decorate homes with digital art displayed on screens, a concept that sounded like pure science fiction at the time. The company didn't last, but the vision did. Today, digital displays and smart devices have made that idea more relevant than ever. At the mouth of the Amazon River lies one of the most biodiverse places on Earth. Marajo Island in Brazil was once home to the Marajoara culture, famous for pottery decorated with geometric designs. Archaeologists have uncovered thousands of artifacts that reveal an extraordinary civilization. It's a paradise for anyone fascinated by history, culture, and nature. Japan even has hotels designed specifically for cats. While their owners travel, feline guests relax in comfortable beds and enjoy playtime in a calm, secure environment. It's a level of pet luxury that perfectly reflects Japan's deep appreciation for animal care. Some cats really do travel in style. Fire, metal, and art collide in an ancient Chinese tradition called dashua. Craftsmen throw molten steel into the air, and when it meets oxygen, it explodes into showers of brilliant sparks. The result is a breathtaking visual display that has survived for centuries. Beautiful to watch, dangerous to perform, impossible to forget. Imagine getting sunscreen applied to your entire body in just 10 seconds. A specially designed machine automatically adjusts for your height and preferred protection level, distributing the product quickly and evenly. It's ideal for beaches, pools, and outdoor events. Fast, efficient, and completely hassle-free. This rocking chair does more than rock. Racking Knit actually knits a hat directly above the user's head while they sit and sway. The chair's gears are powered by the rocking motion, controlling a built-in knitting machine. Every movement advances the fabric, creating a one-of-a-kind garment in real time. Relaxation has never been this productive. Before today's endless variety of chip flavors existed, there was a pioneer, cheese and onion potato chips. Invented in the year 1954, combined creamy cheese flavor with the bold taste of onion. They quickly became a hit and paved the way for the entire flavored snack industry. A small invention that changed snack history forever. Ballet, soccer, surfing, all beneath a frozen lake. Andrew Rock filmed these activities under solid ice using slow, graceful movements. No digital tricks. Just breath control, coordination, and an environment unlike anything most people will ever experience. The result is mesmerizing, a blend of art, sport, and extreme conditions that feels almost unreal. You can order fast food from a kayak in Hamburg, Germany. The city is home to a floating McDonald's where customers paddle up and place their orders directly from the water. There's no drive-through speaker and no mobile ordering, just simple, face-to-face interaction. It's fast food with a nautical twist. What if a security camera could fight back? In New York, the agency Blonde Action created a three-dimensional ad featuring floating visual holograms that astonish passers-by. Advanced optical effects make the images appear to emerge from the display itself. It's not just advertising, it's urban art that redefines what a billboard can be. This unusual sport began as military training. In southern China, participants race while standing on a shared board fitted with oversized shoes. Success depends on perfect coordination and teamwork. Over time, what started as practical training evolved into a beloved regional tradition. It looks simple until you try it. Could robots one day compete in the Olympics? At the Los Angeles Olympics in the year 2028, one of the most anticipated exhibition events is expected to be a basketball game played entirely by autonomous robots. Beyond entertainment, it would showcase just how far artificial intelligence has come. The future may be taking the court sooner than we think. A clock with 5 screens sounds excessive until you see it. The TimesGate gadget combines futuristic design with cyberpunk-inspired LCD displays. It shows information like weather updates and stock prices, and works with voice assistants. More than a clock, it's a piece of technology that doubles as modern art. Some crabs make a shocking sacrifice to survive. When attacked by predators like seagulls, they can voluntarily detach a limb to escape. Even more impressive, they can eventually regenerate the lost arm and restore its full function. It's one of nature's most remarkable survival strategies. Most cats avoid water. The Turkish van is not one of them. Thanks to its water-resistant coat, this breed can swim with ease. In the wild, these cats have been observed swimming in rivers to catch fish or simply for fun. It's one of the few truly water-loving cat breeds on Earth. Virtual reality becomes a sport inside virtual arena. Players move freely through an area of up to about 160 square feet while wearing VR headsets and motion sensors. They battle, complete missions, and compete in sporting events within environments that adapt in real time. It's where esports stop feeling virtual and start feeling real. What if dinner cooked itself? Molly is a robotic kitchen installed on the ceiling of a home. Users simply choose a recipe and add ingredients. Two robotic arms handle everything else: cutting, mixing, cooking, and serving. It can prepare more than 5,000 different dishes with professional precision. The future isn't just arriving, it's making dinner. The first cruise ship to install a roller coaster changed expectations forever. Riders experienced drops, twists, and turns while enjoying breathtaking views of the open ocean. It shattered the stereotype of cruises as quiet getaways and brought theme park thrills directly to the sea. Innovation has never looked this fun. Driving through a Siberian winter is like mastering an extreme sport. Roads remain covered in ice for months, and drivers rely on controlled drifting not as a stunt, but as a necessity. Many learn the technique from a young age and use it daily to navigate corners safely. Watching them drive looks more like choreography than transportation. A library built from trash sounds impossible. In Ankara, Turkey, garbage collectors created one using more than 6,000 books that people had thrown away. Built with recycled materials, it gives the community access to culture while promoting reading and education. A powerful reminder that one person's discarded item can become another person's treasure. This hotel replaced its staff with robots. Since the year 2015, Japan's Hena Hotel has been operated by humanoid robots powered by artificial intelligence. They handle check-ins, room service, and even cleaning duties. It's a glimpse into a future where automation transforms the entire travel experience. A beagle's secret weapon isn't just its nose. Its long, drooping ears play a crucial role in tracking scents. As they brush the ground, they sweep odor particles toward the nose. Their movement also stirs the air, helping funnel even more scents toward the dog's snout. Evolution engineered an incredibly effective tracking system. Hidden inside the Alhambra in Granada, Spain, a secret courtyard opened to the public in the year 2025. Known as the Courtyard of the Lesser Lions, it offers visitors flamenco music, stories about ancient sultans, and stunning architectural details. It's a rare blend of history, culture, and beauty inside one of Spain's most celebrated landmarks. Some secrets are worth waiting centuries to discover. Ever seen a wall react to your every move? Kinetic walls are special installations that use mechanical systems and computer vision to respond to people nearby. Step closer, move around, and the wall shifts its shape or pattern, creating a one-of-a-kind experience. They can adapt to everything from museums to office spaces. What if robots could harvest your food? VegBot, developed by the University of Cambridge, can recognize and harvest iceberg lettuce on its own. Using advanced algorithms, it identifies ripe heads and gently picks them with a soft-grip robotic arm that avoids damaging the plants. Your phone might be dirtier than you think. Smartphones can carry up to 10 times more bacteria than a toilet seat. We touch them constantly with unwashed hands and rarely disinfect them. Their warm surfaces create the perfect environment for germs to thrive. Maybe it's time to clean your phone a lot more often. The global phenomenon almost ended after one season. Squid Game was originally planned as a single-season story, but its success was so massive that Netflix ordered 2 additional seasons. Its creator Hwang Dong-hyuk had to write and produce them under enormous pressure. A perfect example of how success can completely change a creator's original vision. What if a robot never needed human help to recharge? In China, engineers created a humanoid robot capable of replacing its own batteries autonomously. It was designed to perform maintenance tasks on other machines without depending on humans for recharging. Another step toward fully self-sufficient machines that could radically change how we interact with technology in the near future. When a TV show takes over the real world, in Seoul and the Philippines, giant interactive Squid Game installations appeared in public spaces, including the iconic red light, green light doll. Visitors could take photos and record videos, turning the series into a real-world experience. Digital entertainment had officially stepped onto the streets. Art can come from the most unexpected places. One contemporary artist shook up the art world by creating t-shirts using manhole covers as printing molds. His bold approach helped him sell his designs online. Everyday objects became artistic tools capable of producing unique images on fabric. A powerful reminder that creativity can transform the ordinary into something extraordinary. Imagine an aquarium that grows your food. EVA is an innovative system that combines a fish tank with a self-sustaining garden through aquaponics. Fish produce nutrient-rich waste that feeds the plants, while the plants naturally filter the water for the fish. It's a sustainable, waste-free cycle that lets people grow fresh vegetables at home while enjoying the beauty of an aquarium. What does sound look like? South Korean artist Dick Dion created an audio visualizer that uses ferrofluid suspended in a transparent liquid. When music plays, the fluid forms mesmerizing patterns that move in real time. Sound waves become visible shapes, dancing before your eyes. Science and music have rarely looked this spectacular. A childhood game became a professional sport. The Balloon World Cup challenges competitors to keep a balloon from touching the floor inside an obstacle-filled room. Organized by streamer Ibai Llanos, the event combines reflexes, chaos, and non-stop laughter. Millions tuned in to watch, proof that the simplest ideas can become unforgettable entertainment. Sometimes gaming communities create the most meaningful tributes. Matthew built a massive statue of the Minecraft skin of Technoblade after his passing, while also supporting cancer awareness. The colossal project moved millions of fans and showed how virtual admiration can become something deeply real. Ready for one of the strangest races on Earth? In England, participants sprint about 420 yards while flipping a pancake in a frying pan without dropping it. The tradition has been celebrated for centuries with enthusiasm and humor, agility, coordination, and comedy all packed into one unforgettable event. Gaming in the 90s felt like magic. The Game Boy printer allowed users to print photos taken with the Game Boy camera onto black and white thermal paper. The image quality was rough, but at the time it felt revolutionary. Today, the combo is a prized collectible among retro gaming enthusiasts. How small can art get? Lucas Anoto carved the world's smallest coffee cup from a single coffee bean. Using precision tools, he sculpted a microscopic cup, complete with its own tiny saucer. An incredible display of patience, control, and imagination. Sometimes the smallest creations leave the biggest impression. The creatures of Pandora started with real horses. For the action scenes in Avatar, filmmakers used real horses equipped with motion capture sensors. Artists then transferred those movements to the creatures of the Na'vi universe. The result was fluid, believable motion that brought Pandora to life. Technology and nature working together created movie magic. Training for space is more advanced than ever. NASA combines robotic cranes with virtual reality systems to prepare astronauts for life in microgravity. The setup allows them to practice movements and tasks in a safe, controlled environment. Future space travelers sharpen their skills before ever leaving Earth. Technology making the impossible possible. Back in the year 1950, craftsmanship looked different. Albert Herr became known for shaping steel flowers by hand. Every petal was formed using hammers and an anvil, transforming cold metal into delicate works of art. His creations remain a remarkable fusion of strength and elegance. Even the hardest materials can become something beautiful. These videos aren't real, but they feel impossible to ignore. AI-generated clips show tiny crystal planets being sliced like fruit, revealing vivid colors and liquid-like textures inside. Combined with satisfying sound design, they create an oddly relaxing ASMR effect. A glimpse into how artificial intelligence is creating entirely new sensory experiences. Christmas decorations have never looked this unsettling. Artist Michael Adams creates hand-sculpted cookie ornaments, with twisted smiles and eerily realistic eyes. Using polymer clay and detailed painting techniques, he blends festive tradition with nightmare fuel. The result is disturbing, fascinating, and impossible to forget. Ever wonder how digital cats move so realistically? Video game animators often use real cats. By guiding them through obstacles, platforms, and toys, they capture authentic jumps, turns, and landings through motion capture sessions. Every movement on screen feels natural because it started in the real world. More work goes into virtual cats than most people realize. This looks straight out of a superhero movie. One creator built a suit inspired by Frozone from The Incredibles that launches liquid nitrogen. The suit allows him to glide across ice while creating frozen paths in real time. It feels like science fiction brought to life. A perfect mix of science, creativity, and passion. Age means nothing when passion takes over. At more than 90 years old, Sumiko Iwamuro, better known as DJ Sumarock, holds the Guinness World Record as the world's oldest club DJ. By night, she mixes music and energizes crowds. Her story has inspired thousands. Dreams don't come with an expiration date. Can an app tell how you're feeling? Some AI-powered applications analyze writing patterns. In the year 2025, Speed debuted as a futuristic competition featuring flying electric race cars capable of reaching about 125 miles per hour while flying roughly 33 feet above the ground. Built with cutting-edge technology, they race over specially designed aerial tracks. In southern Australia, a milk-based iced coffee called Farmers Union Iced Coffee outsells Coca-Cola. Nowhere else in the world does a non-carbonated drink beat that giant in local sales. Its refreshing taste and loyal fan base have made it a cultural icon. A flower-infused beer caught the world's attention. In the year 2025, a Belgian beer made with hibiscus petals and lavender gained international recognition for its delicate, refreshing flavor. It earned awards at global competitions and stood out at food festivals as one of the first beers to prominently feature floral infusions. Another chapter in Belgium's legendary brewing story. In the historic heart of Guatemala, tradition lives on. Artists Eric Menchú and Eva Salazar have spent more than a decade preserving the art of printmaking through their experimental workshop. The technique involves carving images into surfaces and transferring them onto paper. A bridge between generations that keeps cultural identity alive. Meet a cat with better fashion sense than most people. In Amsterdam, a cat named Nimbus wears a police-style vest for safety. The feline has become a social media sensation, attracting thousands of followers who love its unique look and charming personality. Proof that animals can build their own public image online. Some places feel alive with history. Gemma El Fna in Marrakesh is one of the most vibrant locations on Earth. Storytellers and musicians keep centuries-old traditions alive. By day, it's a bustling marketplace. By night, it transforms into a cultural stage, a living symbol of Morocco's rich oral heritage. Ice can become a masterpiece. A Japanese artist uses precision tools and endless patience to carve detailed sculptures from blocks of ice. Dragons, flowers, and temples emerge from frozen water with stunning realism. Every piece is temporary, destined to disappear within hours. That fleeting beauty is exactly what makes it unforgettable. Imagine your meal arriving on a roller coaster. This restaurant lets guests place orders from a tablet while dishes travel through spiraling tubes, sharp turns, and drops before arriving directly at the table. No waiters required. Dining becomes part meal, part spectacle. Every visit feels like an attraction. Divers are obsessed with this gadget. The Tourette Pulse connects directly to a scuba tank and launches rings of compressed air underwater. With a simple trigger pull, it releases bubble rings that drift through the water like floating halos. It serves no practical purpose, but it's strangely hypnotic. Watching them glide through the water is almost therapeutic. What if a smartwatch could help care for lions? Veterinarian Chloe Whiting developed a creative technique using an Apple Watch to measure lion heart rates. By placing the watch on the animals' tongues, she can obtain accurate readings without invasive procedures. A brilliant example of using everyday technology in unexpected ways. This bird exists nowhere else on Earth. The kagu is native to New Caledonia and is instantly recognizable by its gray plumage and distinctive crest. Habitat destruction and hunting have pushed it toward extinction. Conservation efforts are now underway to protect this remarkable species before it's too late. This race car looks like it belongs in another dimension. A custom dragster inspired by the shape of a coffin stands out with a design straight from science fiction. Despite its unusual appearance, it's built for serious performance, featuring powerful engines and optimized aerodynamics for incredible speed over short distances. Strange, fast, and unforgettable. At first glance, it looks impossible. The water drop humidifier creates the illusion of droplets floating upward through the air. Beyond the visual trick, it improves air quality and maintains comfortable humidity levels, especially in dry environments. It's both functional and beautiful. Technology disguised as art. Who said Crocs aren't edible? Believe it or not, there are edible Crocs made from waffles filled with flavored fillings. They're designed to look exactly like the famous footwear. The bizarre combination of fashion and food has attracted huge attention online thanks to its originality and humor. Definitely not your average snack. Can you trust your own eyes? Artist James Ronke creates animations so realistic that viewers often mistake them for real footage. His visual illusions constantly challenge perception and leave audiences questioning what they're seeing. Reality and imagination blur together in the most convincing way possible. Street art can stop people in their tracks. One artist used chalk to create an incredible image of Stitch on the pavement. The perspective is so precise that it appears as if the character is emerging directly from the ground. A perfect example of how public art can completely transform a space. From Jurassic Park to Titanic, the feline appears as if it were part of the original cast. The videos are hilarious, surprisingly convincing, and wildly viral. Opening a soda used to be riskier than you think. Early cans used pull tabs that detach completely, often causing injuries from sharp edges. Manufacturers eventually switched to the modern stay-on tab design, eliminating the cutting hazard, a simple innovation that improves safety for millions of people worldwide. This Nerf blaster is absolutely massive. The world's largest Nerf gun measures nearly 13 feet long, weighs more than 200 pounds, and can launch darts at roughly 50 miles per hour. Its projectiles are made from PVC and foam, making them safe but incredibly powerful. It turns a simple game into an epic spectacle. Tiny things never stop amazing us. The world's smallest comic book is a miniature edition of Cat Kid Comic Club. Despite its microscopic size, it preserves all the fun and charm of the original. A dream collectible for fans of unusual creations. Proof that great storytelling works at any scale. And this is all. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Zarpado facts.